Meet Ren Tanaka, RMC. Ren, a 27-year-old office worker, was having one of those days where nothing seemed to go right. He had stayed late at work to finish a report his boss had dumped on him at the last minute, only to realize he'd missed the last train home. Exhausted and frustrated, he decided to take a cab, but as he left the office building, he realized he'd forgotten his phone charger in his desk drawer. Groaning, he turned back and took the elevator up to the 12th floor. As he stepped inside, he noticed the elevator was unusually empty for this time of night. He pressed the button for his floor and leaned against the wall, closing his eyes for a moment. But just as the doors were about to close, a delivery man rushed in, carrying a large stack of boxes. The delivery man fumbled with the boxes, accidentally hitting multiple buttons on the elevator panel. Ren, too tired to care, didn't bother to correct it. The elevator began its descent, stopping at every floor, but no one else got on. By the time it reached the 5th floor, Ren was half asleep, barely paying attention. Then, it happened. The elevator creaked ominously, a sound that sent a chill down Ren's spine. He glanced at the flickering fluorescent light above him, the numbers on the display panel stuttering as the elevator descended. The elevator shuddered violently, and Ren's stomach dropped as the floor beneath him seemed to vanish. The cables snapped with a deafening twang, and the elevator plunged into darkness. Ren's heart raced as he braced himself against the wall, his mind screaming that this couldn't be happening. But it was. The elevator was falling, and there was nothing he could do. The last thing he remembered was the sound of metal crashing against concrete, and then, nothing. Ren opened his eyes to find himself standing in a vast, ethereal space. The ground beneath him shimmered like liquid gold, and the air was filled with a soft, melodic hum. Above him, the sky was a swirling tapestry of colors, vivid blues, purples, and golds that seemed to pulse with life. Before he could process what was happening, a voice rang out, clear and resonant. "I am so sorry." Ren turned to see a woman, no, a goddess, approaching him. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her long silver hair cascading down her back like a waterfall of starlight. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and her presence radiated warmth and power. She wore a flowing gown that seemed to be made of pure light, and as she moved, the fabric shimmered like the surface of a calm lake. You're a goddess." Ren stammered, his voice trembling. The goddess nodded, her expression filled with guilt. "Yes. And I owe you an apology. You weren't supposed to be in that elevator. It was a mistake. A terrible, terrible mistake." Ren's mind raced. "So, I'm dead." The goddess winced. "Yes. But it wasn't your time. I messed up, and now, well, I want to make it right." Ren stared at her, his emotions a whirlwind of confusion, anger, and disbelief. "Make it right? How? You can't just bring me back to life, can you?" The goddess smiled softly. "Not in your world, no. But I can offer you something else, a new life in my world. A world of magic, adventure, and endless possibilities. And as an apology, I'll grant you a special gift. A hidden skill unlike anything anyone in that world has ever seen." Ren's eyes widened. A hidden skill? What kind of skill? The goddess's smile turned mysterious. "It's called copy. With it, you can copy up to 10 skills from others and make them your own. It's an SSS rank skill, the highest tier possible, and completely unheard of in my world. No one will know you have it unless you choose to reveal it." Ren's heart raced. Copying skills. That sounded incredible. But he couldn't help feeling a pang of suspicion. "Why are you doing this? Why give me something so powerful?" The goddess sighed. "Because it's the least I can do after what happened. But also, my world is in need of someone like you. Someone who can shake things up, challenge the status quo, and maybe even change the course of history. Consider this a second chance, Ren. A chance to live a life far greater than the one you left behind." Ren hesitated, his mind racing. He had no family, no real ties to his old life. And the thought of starting over in a world of magic and adventure, it was tempting. More than tempting. "All right," he said finally. "I'll do it." The goddess's smile widened, and she reached out to touch his forehead. "Then let us begin." Ren felt a surge of energy course through him, and the world around him dissolved into light. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying on soft grass, the scent of flowers filling the air. He sat up, his body feeling lighter, stronger, and more alive than ever before. He looked down at himself and realized he was wearing simple but well-made clothes, a tunic, trousers, and boots. A small pouch hung at his side, and when he opened it, he found a few coins and a strange crystal. "Welcome to your new life," the goddess's voice echoed in his mind. "The crystal is a guide. It will help you understand the basics of this world and more. And remember, your skill is hidden. Use it wisely." Ren stood, taking in his surroundings. He was in a lush forest, sunlight filtering through the trees. In the distance, he could see the outline of a town, its buildings quaint and charming. As he began to walk, he felt a strange sensation in his chest, a warmth that seemed to pulse with energy. He focused on it, and a screen appeared in his mind. Skill. Copy SSS rank. Description. Allows the user to copy up to 10 skills from others. Copied skills can be used indefinitely. Skills copied. 0 out of 10. Ren grinned. This was it. His second chance. And he was going to make the most of it. After some time, Ren can be seen visiting the town he saw in the distance, as he begins to learn about the world. He discovers that skills are ranked from F to SSS, with most people only having F to B rank skills. SSS rank skills are considered mythical. Ren wandered through the bustling streets of the town, his eyes wide with wonder. The place was a vibrant mix of medieval architecture and magical flair. Street vendors called out to passers-by, offering everything from glowing potions to enchanted trinkets. Adventurers clad in armor and robes strode past, their weapons glinting in the sunlight. Ren couldn't help but feel out of place in his simple tunic and boots, but he was determined to learn more about this world. As he explored, he overheard snippets of conversation about skills and ranks. Most people seemed to have basic abilities, fire spells, enhanced strength, or minor healing, but nothing extraordinary. SSS rank skills were spoken of in hushed tones, as if they were the stuff of legends. Ren kept his head down, careful not to draw attention to himself. He knew his copy skill was something special, and he wasn't ready to reveal it yet. As Ren turned a corner into a quieter part of town, he heard a commotion coming from a narrow alley. Curiosity piqued, he peeked around the corner and froze. In the shadows of the alley, a group of wolf-like demi-humans, tall, muscular, and snarling, had cornered a petite bunny girl. She had soft white fur, long ears that drooped in fear, and wide, panicked eyes. One of the thugs grabbed her arm, his claws digging into her skin as she struggled to break free. "Come on, little rabbit," one of the wolf men sneered. "You know the boss wants to see you. Stop making this harder than it has to be." Ren's heart raced. Demi-humans. Wolf thugs. This world was even more fantastical than he'd imagined. But there was no time to marvel, the bunny girl was in trouble. Without thinking, Ren stepped into the alley. "Hey! Leave her alone." The thugs turned to him, their sharp teeth glinting as they grinned. Well, one of them said. "Looks like we've got a hero wannabe." Ren clenched his fists, trying to look braver than he felt. "Let her go, or else." The bunny girl's eyes widened. "Run. They're too strong for you." But it was too late. One of the thugs lunged at Ren, moving faster than he could react. A fist connected with his stomach, knocking the wind out of him. Ren doubled over, gasping for air, only to be hit again, this time in the face. He stumbled backward, his vision swimming, and collapsed onto the cobblestones. The last thing he saw before everything went black was the bunny girl's terrified face as the thugs dragged her away. Ren's consciousness returned in fragments. His head throbbed, and his body felt heavy, as if he'd been stuffed into a sack and thrown down a flight of stairs. The faint sound of voices reached his ears, muffled and distant, like he was underwater. "Hurry up and get the appraiser," a gruff voice growled. "My gut's telling me there's something about this boy, but I can't tell what it is." Ren's heart skipped a beat. Appraiser. The word cut through the fog in his mind like a knife. He remembered the goddess's warning, "Your skill is hidden. No one will know you have it unless you choose to reveal it." If these thugs had an appraiser, they might figure out he had an SSS rank skill. Panic surged through him, and his eyes snapped open. He was in a dimly lit room, the air thick with the smell of damp stone and mildew. His hands were bound tightly behind his back with rough rope, and his legs were tied to a wooden chair. Across the room, he saw the bunny girl from the alley, her arms chained to the wall. Her white fur was matted, and her long ears drooped, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "You're awake," she whispered, her voice soft but urgent. "Thank you for trying to save me back there, but that was really stupid. The Wolf Fang clan isn't something you mess with." Ren winced, both from the pain and the bluntness of her words. "Yeah, I'm starting to figure that out," he muttered. "Any idea how we're getting out of this?" The bunny girl glanced toward the door, then back at Ren. "I have a plan, but I need your help. There's a knife tucked into the belt at my waist. If you can reach it, I can pick the lock on these chains." Ren raised an eyebrow. "You want me to, what, wiggle over there and grab a knife while tied to a chair?" She gave him a deadpan look. "Do you have a better idea?" Ren sighed. "Fair point. All right, let's do this." Ren shifted his weight, trying to scoot the chair closer to the bunny girl. The wooden legs scraped against the stone floor, the sound making him cringe. He froze, listening for any sign that the thugs had heard him. When no one burst through the door, he continued, inching forward bit by bit. As he moved, his mind wandered. He couldn't help but think of a cartoon character from his world, a bumbling, stretchy hero who always found himself in ridiculous situations. "Giggity," he muttered under his breath, trying to lighten the mood. The bunny girl tilted her head. "What are you saying?" "Nothing," Ren said quickly, his face flushing. "Just trying to stay focused." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he was close enough to reach the knife. He twisted his body awkwardly, his fingers straining to grasp the hilt. The bunny girl leaned forward as much as her chains would allow, guiding him with whispered instructions. "A little to the left, no, your other left. There, you've got it." Ren's fingers closed around the knife, and he carefully pulled it free. "Got it," he said, grinning despite the situation. "Now what?" "Pass it to me," she said. "I can use it to pick the lock." Ren hesitated. "You sure you can do that with your hands chained up?" She gave him a look that said, "Do you really want to question me right now?" "Right, sorry," Ren said, handing her the knife as best he could. She took it with surprising dexterity, her fingers working quickly to maneuver the blade into the lock. The bunny girl moved like a shadow, her form blurring as she slipped out of the chains and landed silently on the floor. Ren stared, wide-eyed, as she straightened up and brushed herself off, her demeanor completely different from the frightened girl she had pretended to be. "Thanks for the help," she said, her voice calm and confident now. "But just so you know, the whole helpless bunny act was just a cover. I'm actually an assassin. I've been tracking the Wolf Fang clan's boss for weeks." Ren blinked, trying to process what she was saying. "Wait, so you let yourself get captured?" She smirked. "Easiest way to get close to their operation. But don't worry, you played your part well." She paused, studying him for a moment. "You're interesting." I'll give you that. My name's Lyra, by the way. Remember it. Before Ren could respond, Lyra's ears twitched, and she glanced toward the door. I've got work to do. You should get out of here while you can. She pointed to a narrow passage in the corner of the room. That's the exit. Follow it, and you'll be out of the hideout. Ren opened his mouth to protest, but Lyra was already moving. Her body seemed to blur as she activated a skill, her form becoming almost invisible as she darted out of the room with incredible speed. Ren stared at the empty space where she had been, his mind racing. Stealth speed. That was a skill he wouldn't mind having. Ren didn't have much time to dwell on Lyra's sudden departure. The sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway, growing louder by the second. He quickly hid behind a stack of crates, peeking out just as the door burst open. The wolf thugs returned, dragging a skinny, nervous-looking man with them. He wore glasses and carried a strange, glowing orb in his hands. Ren's stomach dropped. This had to be the appraiser. Where are they? One of the thugs roared, his eyes scanning the empty room. They were right here. The skinny man adjusted his glasses, looking around nervously. I don't know. You said you had someone for me to appraise. The thugs growled in frustration, but one of them suddenly sniffed the air, his wolf-like nose twitching. I've got the girl's scent. He barked. She went this way. Let's move. Without another word, the thugs rushed out of the room, leaving the appraiser behind. The skinny man hesitated, clearly unsure of what to do. He glanced around the room, muttering to himself. This is why I hate field work. Ren watched from his hiding spot, his heart pounding. The appraiser was alone now, and Ren knew this was his chance. He wasn't exactly a fighter, but the guy didn't look too tough. Still, he hesitated. What if the appraiser had some kind of skill? What if this was a terrible idea? Taking a deep breath, he remembered, the system said just stretch out my hand and say copy, okay, let's do this. Ren crept out from behind the crates. The appraiser was still muttering to himself, his back turned. Ren moved quickly, closing the distance between them. Just as the man started to turn around, Ren swung his fist, hitting him square in the back of the head. The appraiser cried out in pain, stumbling forward and dropping his orb. Ren didn't waste any time. He stretched out his hand and focused, activating his copy skill. Copy, he said firmly. A warm sensation spread through his hand, and a notification appeared in his mind. Skill acquired, appraisal, C rank. Description, allows the user to assess the skills, stats, and potential of others. Ren grinned. It had worked. But before he could celebrate, the appraiser groaned, starting to get up. Ren's grin faded as the man turned to face him, his glasses askew. Why you? The appraiser stammered, his eyes widening as he activated his skill. A faint glow surrounded Ren as the man appraised him. 2 skills. And one of them is, appraisal. Ren's heart sank. The man had figured it out. Before Ren could react, the appraiser scrambled to his feet and bolted for the door. The boss is gonna love this. The man shouted as he ran. Wait until he hears about you. Hey, get back here. Ren yelled, giving chase. He couldn't let the appraiser escape, not if it meant the Wolf Fang clan would find out about his copy skill. The chase was on.